In garden centres up and down the country, there are many questions asked a member of staff outside of do you work here, where the toilets, and have you got a cafe. I'm talking about questions that specifically relate to plants having a purpose within the garden over and above just looking good. How can I explain that? Well, pets, for instance, if you've got a dog, you can have a dog as a pet, but you can also have a working dog, and a working dog may help with security, may work for the police, it may also round up sheep for the shepherd. They're working dogs opposed to just being pets. And there are plants that have got that same sort of purpose. They have an active involvement of achieving something within the garden. Now, it doesn't split to particular varieties. In some cases, conifers can be doing a similar job as shrubs. It's the nature of how the plant grows that makes them so unique and have a purpose. And I'm going to go through different purposes within a garden and then relate it to plants that can achieve that purpose. It may be you want some vandal proofing, you want some hedging, ground cover, climbers, spot for shade and things like that. Well, let's start with blank spaces. We've all got walls, garages, fences, the back of the house, and also maybe, wheelie bins you wish to hide. And that is a very common question. People come into garden centre saying, I've got an area I want to cover. Now, climbers is the best section to go to in a garden centre for that. And there are lots of different types. Things like the honeysuckle are really good. If you've got wheelie bins or you've got a blank wall, you can put up a bit of trellis. They twine around, so you need something to be able to support them, and they will clad and hide an ugly wall or an eyesore that you've got a bit of trellis or wire around to be able to do that. I mean, clematis is a difference as well. You get this beautiful one, and this one's it's just simply called Joe. It's a beautiful clematis with these sort of like masses of white flowers that come across, and they're really good for masking and hiding. So the climber section is the best place to go into a garden centre if you're looking for something to change something that's that has more of a practical appearance, and you want it to become a feature in itself. Climbing section is a really good one for that. Now, if you've got slopes or if you've got areas that you want to be quite low maintenance, then what we call ground cover. Now, instead of growing up and out, these plants grow and spread. And in the conifer section, there's quite a few plants that tick the box. This particular one here is a juniper. It's called blue carpet. Juniperus squamata, as it's known as. Squamata means small, scale-like leaves. I think they're beautiful. See the new foliage just coming out. It's the lighter green, which latterly turns to blue and silver, and it's a really great suppressor. So if you plant that in an area, it spreads out. You get that all year round colour. Of course, in addition to that, it stops a lot of the weeds underneath growing through. And another very good one is the periwinkle. This one's Vinca minor. Minor are smaller leaves. Vinca major are larger leaves, and you get these beautiful purple flowers as well. It'll grow in sun just as much as in shade, although it will flower more in a sunnier position. But that is a really good low ground spreading plant, suppressing weeds underneath. If you've got an embankment that's starting to fall away, putting in plants like this, the roots will hold it into position and they spread. So that's really ground cover. Now, if you've got an area that you want vandal proof, you're worried about, I don't know, some of the local kids coming in and sitting on the wall, people taking shortcuts across your property, or you want a really good impenetrable hedge so no suspect burglars can come anywhere near, Berberus ticks the button. So there are plants that are specifically good because if you take a closer look, you see the thorns that are in and amongst the stems there, they are vicious. You can grow this as a hedge, trim it into position. This is Berberus thunbergii. There's lots of different Berberuses. They're evergreen Berberuses. This is a deciduous one, meaning it loses its leaves during the winter, but it forms a very good dense hedge if you trim it into shape. Great for nesting because it protects the little birds in the nests within it. The thorns, the cats certainly won't like climbing through. But if you've got that planted at the front or areas where you don't want people to go, it's living barbed wire, it does a very good purpose. So, climbers, vandal proof, spreaders. Some people often say, I've got a really shady, damp area. You know, it's either they've got a courtyard garden at the back and there's an area that doesn't get much sun, or you've got areas underneath the trees. What plants are really good for bringing a bit of colour into a dull spot? Well, hostas do particularly well. And grown in containers in urban areas or underneath trees, containers will give you the opportunity to protect against slugs. So you can put copper tape around the outside, maybe some eggshells. Slugs don't like crossing that. But hostas are really good for shady positions, as are ferns. You know, as humans, we can see more variant shades of green than almost any other colour, and these combinations work well. So for shadier spots, you can go to garden centres and they've got plant beds just for shade, but if you haven't, hostas and ferns would be my advice. Now for sun, really bright sunny locations, Mediterranean plant like rosemary is a very good choice. Lavender as well, of course they grow in the Mediterranean, they're used to being open out for quite a while, and you get all the beautiful fragrance with it. You get the flowers, which is perfect for the pollinators, and they do well. Hebes are another plant that are particularly good for sunny locations. Look at the vibrant colour of this one here. This is called Magic Summer. Wow, what an explosion of colours. And the thing with Hebes is they change at different times of year. So you get all year round colour, but sometimes you'll get flower. You also get some winter effect, but you get evergreen as well. So these type of plants, Mediterranean plants and plants like Hebes, are very good for pollinators and incredibly good during the summer months. Now, on the other side, winter interest, there are many different types. This is commonly known as Harry Lauder's walking stick, Corylus, and it's a contorted, look at that, contorted hazel. And you get that effect throughout the winter months, often used by florists. You get masses of foliage during the spring and summer. You get catkins later on in the winter as it turns into spring, and it just adds something really interesting. And of course, not forgetting heathers as well. Now this is a summer flowering heather and it's got new foliage at the top, lovely textured plant as well, but it gives an element of interest earlier on in the spring. So you don't need to have flowers all the time. Sometimes just the effect of the stems and the foliage make a difference. Now finally, I need to talk about fragrance. A lot of questions in garden centres are, I've got a patio area, I'd like something that really smells good, and of course roses come instantly to mind. But there are other varieties, like in winter, this is a Daphne here, Daphne mezereum. Oh, that is such a heavenly scent there. It's just coming towards the end because it flowers really before the foliage comes out, and then the foliage comes later. But these are a few of the flowers left. I couldn't resist bringing it from the garden centre to show you. That's really smart. And of course, if you wanted to combine a few things, of course you can get fragrance in so many different ways. This is a star jasmine, so it climbs just like the climbers we spoke at the beginning. These lovely white star-like flowers with a heavenly scent. And of course, there's so much fragrant foliage as well. Oh, this is a citrus thyme, beautiful like that. One key thing that is asked for a lot is hedging. And hedging, there are many different varieties. This one I choose for hedging, this is a Viburnum tinus. It's a beautiful flowering shrub that can be left as an informal hedge really, where it grows quite loose but still creates a barrier, or it can be trimmed into a tighter shape. But there are many traditional hedging plants like beech, like hornbeam and conifers and the like. They're all working plants that have a purpose in the garden. So whether you want something to hide the wall, whether you want ground cover, the best thing to do is to photograph the area in the garden that you need to find plants to solve the purpose, take it into your local garden centre and have a chat. We've got some of the best garden centres in the world here in Great Britain. Loads of very talented, educated staff that work in the plant advice hut. Just visit them and choose the right plant to solve something in your garden and have a purpose. For more helpful gardening videos like this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like and share this video. For more great information, visit my website, daviddomoney.com.